Northumberland Archives and November Club present Hannah Glasse Saves the Nation. Hannah Glasse, a country gentlewoman of the 18th century, is in her 60s. She is sturdily built with wide, pale blue eyes. Her silver blonde hair has been pinned up and mostly tucked inside a white mob cap perched at the back of her head. A few wispy curls left framing her face, along with a small pair of pearl and gold earrings. She carries herself upright, shoulders squared, and her movements are brisk and decisive. Hannah wears a rigid corseted bodice of forest green worsted with a subtle vertical bronze stripe, 2 lines of brocade along the fastening, and elbow-length sleeves. White muslin has been artfully draped and folded around the neckline as a modesty panel and pinned at the top centre of the corset with a round green and white cameo brooch. Her matching skirt is mostly covered with a pleated white apron and has a small bustle at the back. Hannah stands in her kitchen at a long marble-topped table. The room is light and airy, a window leaded in a diamond pattern to our right and an open doorway in the rear right corner. The lower 4 feet of the walls are of wooden planks running vertically and painted a deep olive green. The upper part of the walls are whitewashed plaster. The floor is of smooth wood. Directly behind where Hannah stands is a large black iron fireplace around 3 feet across and the same in height. The grate is piled with logs but unlit. Against the wall above the fireplace hang thick bunches of drying herbs of at least 8 varieties, including silvery bay leaves, fronds of rosemary and pink-tipped marjoram. Further sheaves of herbs and golden tansy flowers lie in a basket on the table to our left. Beside them are a collection of rectangular apothecary bottles of clear glass, a large sealed stoneware jar, 1 bowl of eggs, and another of salt. On the table to our right is another basket piled with produce, chiefly cabbages and bundles of radishes, a stoneware jug, a white mortar and pestle, and 6 small white bowls filled with finely chopped herbs and powders. On the corner of the table lies a flat cloth-bound ledger. Hannah stands at the long table in her kitchen, adding teaspoons of salt from a bowl to the glass mason jar of water in front of her. She stirs the mixture. Her eyes widen as she looks at us.
Are we ready? Oh, may I just finish making this salt solution? It's for my pickles and I'm already late getting them made. There. That should be enough.
She puts the jar aside and composes herself, hands folded.
You have my complete attention. Hello. My name is Hannah Glasse. Yes. The actual Hannah Glasse, in person. Marvellous, isn't it? And I have come to save you all from this terrible plague with a very special potion.
She picks up a book.
As you are, of course, aware, I am the author of The Art of Cookery Made Plain and Easy, first published, to great acclaim, in 1747. I imagine you all have well-used copies in your households.
She flicks through the pages, looks up.
What?
Frowns, closes the book.
I see puzzled faces. You do not have my book? No wonder you look so pale and wan.
She leans in, peering at us.
Some of you look like a death's head upon a mop stick. What are you eating? You do know that mine is the most successful book of its type ever written. There were over 40 editions published. Oh, yes. Your Jamie Olivers and Mary Berries have nothing on me. It was popular as far as the American colonies. Why, even after my death, they kept on printing more and more editions.
She shakes her head.
I must say, I am shocked.
She adds more salt to her solution, stirs it briskly.
I am, after all, a local girl, brought up here in Northumberland. I would have expected more loyalty.
Taps the spoon on the rim.
What short memories you have. Well, I shall tell you a little of myself, so that you know to value my advice. I was born in London in 1708 to a wicked wretch of a mother and a wonderful father. Fortunately, my father, Isaac Allgood, a distinguished Northumberland landowner, whisked me away as a babe in arms to our estate near Hexham. I was brought up by his wife as one of the family. I was well schooled and loved by my family. I was indeed the happiest of children and saw myself as a true Northumbrian. May I beg your indulgence? I must just test this solution before I go on. One moment. In fact, since you are obviously not great cooks, this will be a useful little lesson for you. When you make pickles, you must be sure to have your salted water just right. And the way to know this is to see if it will bear an egg. Too little and your egg will drop. Too much and your egg will lie as on a bed. Just right and the egg will simply float. My Aunt Margaret Allgood had many excellent pickling recipes in her household book. I loved to watch her cook test the pickling water. Oh, it was a moment of great excitement for us as children to see if the egg would float, and when it did, we gave a great huzzah! I believe the family has given her recipe collection to the Northumberland Archives. You could ask to see it.
Hannah pops an egg into the jar. It bobs to the surface.
Huzzah! My water is perfect. Now, I shall set that aside and prepare the base for my potion.
She wipes the table with a cloth.
Pay close attention. Time is not our friend here, so I shall talk as I prepare.
She takes the bowls of herbs.
I hope you're all in good health, despite your corny-faced looks. You are? Good.
Sets the mortar and pestle in front of her.
But I must warn you, we can take nothing for granted these days. That is why I want to offer you this very special recipe at no charge. It is my own highly effective recipe against the plague. I have used it myself, as did my husband and all of our children. I sent it to my aunt in Northumberland, and she distributed the potion to her entire household. It's all in my letters. They too are in the archives. Do look at them. Now, listen carefully. This could save your life. Take a handful each of rue, sage, mint, lavender, and wormwood.
She drops each into the mortar.
Oh, and
She picks up a pair of scissors and cuts a sprig from the drying herbs above.
some rosemary. Strip them from their stems and bruise them in a mortar. In my day, most cookbooks were written by men for professional cooks.
She begins to crush
The
them.
recipes were difficult, rich, and French. I saw the need for a simpler cookbook, plain and easy, as the title tells you, for the less educated servant. It would give exactly the methods for making and presenting a dish fit to bring to the table of a new middle-class household. I took into account the poor kitchen equipment they might have. So if a servant had no scales, I would say, as much as will sit upon a sixpence. Let me show you.
She produces a small silver coin, sets it on a white napkin, and places a pinch of lavender on top.
There. Oh, by the way, can you see how I am bruising my herbs? Do not thump them like a great galoot. Be gentle, so that you may release their potency rather than driving it off. there is another thing you should know. A good cookbook should contain remedies against common illnesses. These are, like the cooking recipes, passed down from cook to cook and household to household, so they are perfectly tried and true.
She lifts the mortar, inhales the scent.
Good. My herbs are ready. Now to make the potion.
She puts aside the mortar and takes a stoneware jar.
Add your herbs, well bruised, into a stone pot. Mind you use a stone pot. Glass will not do, for the light will change the confection. Add a gallon of white wine vinegar.
She gestures a jug.
Seal the pot tightly, as I have done here.
The pot is topped with muslin bound with twine.
Leave it sitting on warm wood ash for 8 days.
She sets it in the hearth.
Any warm place will do if you do not normally keep a fire
She
burning.
takes a glass bottle.
After 8 days, strain the potion and put it into bottles.
And a bowl of white powder.
Add 1/4 ounce of camphor. If you do not have scales, as much as will fill a brass thimble.
She scoops the camphor up in the thimble and pours it carefully into the bottle.
And a little more.
She scatters in an extra pinch.
Cork the bottles.
A green-tinted bottle labelled plague water.
This is your potion. It is not for drinking. You must wash in it and dab a little, like scent, near your nostrils and face.
She demonstrates.
Put some on your mask. Or carry a sponge soaked in it in a little bag and
She pulls one from her pocket.
sniff at it when out shopping or going about your business. Some robbers who regularly stole from the houses abandoned by the sick used this potion and never caught a fever. Don't worry. They're dead now. Oh, but not from the plague. Hanged. Now, do we not all feel safer knowing that method? I think that recipes are like food itself, made for sharing.
She picks up the ledger.
I collected many from my family and from households I worked in when I was first married. Every household of any importance had a big book in the kitchen, and each new cook, for cooks are temperamental and do tend to leave in the huff, each new arrival would add to it. And if Milady were visiting another household, she might beg a recipe from their cook to add to her own kitchen's repertoire.
She opens the book.
Do you have a family recipe book? Ah, some are nodding, others not. But I'm sure you all have a special family recipe. You know the type of thing.
She pulls out a handwritten paper.
Aunt Ella's rhubarb jelly, scribbled on a scratty piece of paper and stuck in the pages of a printed book. Or
She finds another dog-eared scrap.
Uncle Geoffrey's special fish pie, with a list of substitutes when cod is not available. We all have those old favourites passed through the generations. And if you don't, well, now is as good a time to start as any.
She closes the book.
So I pray you, would you send me your special favourite recipes? And then Northumberland Archives can keep them as they have mine. Why, we could make a whole new book. Northumberland Recipes by Northumberland People. Oh, would that not be a grand thing to come out of this terrible time? And a great credit to our county. Oh, and will you add the story behind the cook who made the recipe? Or perhaps a little reminiscence about what you liked about it? And if you have made it and might send a picture, that would be a wonder indeed. Now, I must finish my pickles. But I hope to receive your recipes, which I promise to show with the name of the sender. Meanwhile, keep applying the potion against the plague. Keep safe. Goodbye.
Hannah smiles. She wipes down the table with a cloth and places a red cabbage on it as we fade to black. To share your recipes and find out about other Hannah Glass activities, visit www.northumberlandarchives.com/learn. Credits: Hannah Glass is played by Judy Earle, written by Fiona Ellis, directed by Chinzia Hardy, and designed by Imogen Cloet. Music is Bach's Brandenburg Concerto No. 4, arranged by David Tobin, Jeff Meagan, Julian Gallant and Rob Kelly. Film production by Magnus Dennison, Katia Roberts and Tian Abry for Meerkat Films. Thanks to Blackfriars Restaurant and Banquet Hall, Northern Stage and Pins Petals Powder. Commissioned by Northumberland Archives and produced by November Club. Funded by the Culture Recovery Fund for Heritage.